found money to give tax cuts to billionaires and launch wars, funded by cuts to healthcare and food assistance for millions of Americans. Now he's attacked Iran, launching a regime change war that endangers our troops and our national security while raising your costs. Let's be clear. President Trump has offered the American people no clear objective, no plan, no exit strategy to end this war. Our Constitution is very clear. Congress, not the president, has the power to declare war. By refusing to seek congressional approval for these strikes, President Trump is breaking the law. He is illegally risking American lives for an unauthorized war with no end in sight. Already, 6 American service members have been killed by retaliatory Iranian drone strikes. Trump's own top general has said that the brave men and women who serve our country will continue to die if this war continues. Even after these tragic deaths, the president has not ruled out putting American boots on the ground in Iran and boasted that wars can be, quote, fought forever. What's more, President Trump admitted this week that the administration didn't even have a plan for how to evacuate American citizens in the Middle East caught in the crossfire. That failure has left thousands of Americans stranded, fearing for their lives and with no support from their own government. I've demanded that the Trump administration immediately develop and implement a plan to get these Americans home safely. I will not rest until that is done. Make no mistake, American people do not want this war. They want lower costs. I hear from New Yorkers every single day who want this president focused on lowering costs here at home, not dropping bombs around the world. We are already seeing this war drive up Americans' costs. Oil and gas prices have risen significantly since the weekend, making it more expensive for Americans to heat their homes and power their cars. The stock market is in turmoil. Inflation is rising. The longer this goes on, the more expensive and worse it will get for American taxpayers, their needs, and their sons and daughters in uniform. I will repeat again, the American people want lower costs, not forever wars. This must stop. Yesterday, I voted on a war powers resolution. That vote was about reasserting Congress's responsibility, demanding accountability, and sending a clear message that military force must be debated, justified, and authorized before American lives are put at risk. This is not about partisanship. It's about prudence. It's about constitutional responsibility. The power to declare war rests with Congress for a reason, so that no single individual can unilaterally commit our country to a conflict of enormous consequence. President Trump must end this war immediately and justify the actions already taken to the American people and to Congress. I'm praying for the safety and well-being of our brave service members and the American families in the region. I will not stop fighting until his reckless war has ended and until President Trump is held accountable for these actions. Happy to take your questions.
Hi, Senator. This is Rachel Knapp with WENY News in Elmira, the DC Bureau. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. I have an on-topic and off-topic, but I'll wait for the off-topic. The on-topic I have is, has the Pentagon officially reached out and requested additional funds for their operations in Iran?
No, they have not.
And when I expect that there's talks that that will be expected of them to do pretty soon. What are y'all going to do on that request?
I will not support any request until President Trump speaks to Congress about the purpose of the war, his plan for this war, the exit strategy that he intends to utilize. I want to know why he has put our troops in harm's way when there were no exigent circumstances, there were no imminent attacks, and under our Constitution, those are the only circumstances where a president can commit troops to a military action. And so I will not support any funding because President Trump has not made the case to the American people.
So, sorry, last question on topic. Is it safe to say that the briefings earlier this week, you were not satisfied with them by Secretary Rubio and the other administration?
No, they were totally unsatisfactory. And as with President Trump's statements, it was all over the board.
Thank you, and I'll wait for my off topic.
Alex Simone with Buffalo Toronto Public Media. I was wondering about like balancing concerns with the Iranian regime versus, again, like you said, these criticisms of President Trump and those bombings. Like especially I've heard about some Iranians who have said they're willing to die in these bombings if it means a change in regime. So like, how do you maybe balance those two factors?
We can support the Iranian people in their desire for freedom and democracy. There are many ways to support a protest movement within Iran, but it does not mean that we need to declare war against Iran to be supportive.
Thank you.
Senator Anna Gooper from WPTV in Plattsburgh, are you aware of any New Yorkers who are currently in the Middle East who are struggling to get back to the States?
Yes, I personally heard from several families who are trying to get flights, don't know how to exit, can't get a response from the State Department. My staff has talked to dozens of New Yorkers that are stranded. And right now, President Trump has said that the State Department has a number you can call to get support in getting evacuated, but I haven't seen that number be effective for these families yet.
And a quick follow-up, we cover Northern New York and Vermont, and we have troops on both sides that are now in the Middle East fighting for the United States. What is your message to the families who are still here at home whose loved ones have been sent away for this?
That we are grateful for the sacrifice and courage of their service member loved one, and that our military is the strongest, most highly trained, and most effective in the world. And I have every confidence that they will be able to do the missions that are set out for them.
Thank you.
Senator Terry Frank at Media One in Jamestown.
Go ahead, Terry.
I wanted to ask your thoughts about the fact that the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Hegseth, he promoted the fact that they were able to get most of the people aligned with them out of the war zone before all this happened. Yet we had thousands of people who are still over there, teachers and whoever else, who are now stuck in that war zone. How do you break that dichotomy?
So we are going to help those families individually get the support they need, find flights that are leaving, find abilities to cross borders to get into safe countries that do have flights out. So we are going to work with every single one of them. I think, unfortunately, Secretary Hegseth did not have a plan to evacuate Americans from the region before these, and their plan to evacuate them now is haphazard at best.
Thank you.
Brian O'Neill, WLEA.
Hi, Brian.
Hi there. You mentioned that there were a lot of New York State families who are in the Middle East. Was wondering, I work for stations that cover Steuben, Livingston, Monroe, and Allegheny counties. Was wondering if you could say if any of the families are from any of those places.
I don't have that information, but I can check with my staff and get back to you directly.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, off topics.
Senator Rachel Knapp again with WENY News. Our parent company, Lilly Broadcasting, also has CBS Puerto Rico, and we saw that recently you and a couple other senators are sponsoring legislation to transition Puerto Rico from NAP to SNAP benefits. And I just wanted to hear from you what that would mean for Puerto Ricans to get the full benefits of SNAP.
Well, these are benefits that they deserve and need and have earned. They are American citizens. They shouldn't be treated differently than the rest of American citizens who live on the mainland. And so these benefits are important because people are still struggling to make ends meet. The cost of groceries have skyrocketed. Cost of housing is still too high. Cost of medical treatment is too high. And so getting a benefit to defray costs of, excuse me, essential food is something that we should do for Puerto Ricans.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Anything else?
Hi, Senator Laura Figueroa with Newsday. Actually, it's back to on topic with Iran. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on, obviously there was the vote yesterday and then the vote today in the House. But obviously this is a president who has taken military action in other circumstances as well without much congressional oversight or approval. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on the role that voters play, with polls showing that a lot of voters are not necessarily interested in entering another conflict in the Middle East. What is the next line of oversight if Congress is not, issuing war powers of authorization, to kind of rein in some of this military action that's kind of happening unilaterally? I just wonder if you have any thoughts about that.
Well, certainly we have an inflection point in November. We've seen in special elections and we've seen in the last November elections that voters who supported Trump initially have changed their minds and are no longer supporting him. We saw a 30-point shift in a special election in Texas. We've seen red counties in New Jersey and Virginia turn blue in those governor's races. We had statewide races in both Iowa and Georgia that went from red to blue. And so voters are frustrated with President Trump. They're frustrated that he's not focused on getting costs down like he promised. They're angry that he is not pursuing peace as he promised. There are many people in New York that are deeply frustrated by another possibility of a forever war in the Middle East. And we can hold this president accountable in the next election. And that's what I hope, and I've been working on in the Senate races, I hope the American people will do.
Thank you.
Senator, one more on topic question. Anna Gruber from WPTZ. Depending on how the vote goes today, what does the Senate plan to do from here? What is the next step now that the Senate has rejected the vote yesterday? What do you plan to do from here? What are your next steps?
Well, I'm going to continue to speak out against this war plan and continue to speak out about what President Trump is literally refusing to do, which is to come to Congress to ask for a authorization for use of military force. He has been unwilling to create even a consistent narrative about why we are at war. And this is not a military operation to prevent war. This is expanding. We just got reports about submarine taking out an Iranian naval vessel that wasn't armed. These are all pursuant to the law of war. So he is in a war right now without the permission of the American people, without the buy-in of the American people, and without the legal requirements that are necessary to commit America and our troops to war. Anything else?
Senator.
Yep.
Yeah, Senator Terry Frank again. Just came to mind, I know that she was grilled pretty extensively by committee past couple of days, but I understand, there are reports anyways, that President Trump is weighing getting rid of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. I wanted to find out, have you heard anything about that?
I haven't. I've just seen the reports that you've seen. But she has been absolutely a failure in every respect. She's not protected the American people at all. Because of her actions, 2 Americans have been murdered. It is unconscionable that she continues to have her position.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. If you have anything else, let my team know.
Thank you.